Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea, and welcome to a GSL qualifier match. Today in the top right spawning as our red Terran player, playing for team Cloud9. It is Gumiho. And in the bottom right as our blue Protoss player, playing for team NV. And of course, creator. So we have a best of 3 here on our... Oh my god, what is this location for a proxy? That is an interesting one. As it's not going to get scouted so far here by creator, but there's always an opportunity for something being scouted later. As this was one of the qualifying matches, oh my god, for the GSL, for the GSL, basically. GSL Season 1, GSL's been announced again, quickly held the qualifiers, and GSL was so kind to release a replay pack as this barracks manages to barely finish. That was what, 5 or 10 HP? 10 HP remaining here on this little SCV. Might try to follow it up with the... Sometimes you see an eBay block as a follow-up. That's not going to be the case here. Creator opens with a Zealot before the Nexus. So it's going to be Zealot, Pylon, Assimilator. Is kind of the setup that I'm expecting here. Although that Pylon was a couple of seconds late. Always scary, of course. And I have to wait and see exactly how Creator's going to deal with all of this crap. Very difficult often to deal with these types of proxy Rexes. There's going to be single Reaper and then just pissing off. That's going to be the general plan here for Gumiho. The thing about the Zealot is that it really delays the first gateway unit. Because you usually get supply blocked for a little bit. And here the Cybercore was delayed. I'm not entirely sure why, but usually the Stalker is supposed to finish 2 minutes and 20 seconds in. This Stalker is going to finish 2 minutes and 28 seconds in. Gumiho went for the decision to shoot the Zealot, which he then didn't get a kill on, rather than trying to kill a probe or two. Not a huge fan of that decision. So a fast starport here is on the way as well. We're seeing the first mine in production. It's going to be a straight up mine drop. Either double or triple. Either is going to be fine. Stargate out of Creator. As well as a supply block out of Creator here. But as the Nexus finishes up, that is going to be resolved. At least for now. Zealot, Adept and a Stalker make their way across the map. That means that this Reaper has some counterattack potential. Maybe. Battery in the main base is at least going to stop that a little bit. As Creator's playing it quite safe. It's going to lose the Stalker against the mine. That is not as safe as it should be. Now the Adept's going to show up. But yeah, this is a painful little start here. Because you're never going to get a kill on any of these mines. It's going to get into the main base though. And there's no Marines out. This is actually really sloppy here out of Gumiho. Who... This is one of these things that is a relatively small mistake. With potentially very large consequences. Look at the mining time here that is being lost. This is already, what, 10, 15 seconds? How many workers is this? Like 13? Like, we just lost 150... 200 minerals in mining just because you let this Adept into your main. You're also going to end up losing at least 1 worker because it already went down. Small delay on the command center as well. No extra SCVs will get killed. On top of that, Creator also got the full scout. Knowing what's coming is always great. And he's just going to keep his Phoenixes hopefully in between the bases. Because otherwise this drop could potentially still deal damage, which is obviously not what we want. We want this drop to just get stopped dead in its tracks. Probe was a little late. Ooh. Gonna survive. The majority of the probes here are gonna survive at least. This medevac is not gonna survive. It's gonna have priority over the mines, which is an interesting call. Still believes that he can get those mines afterwards, I guess. And he might just be right. It's gonna go for the low mine first. And then 2 full HP mines as the Reaper moves in towards the main base. This bad boy might escape, but overall very good pickups here for Creator, who decides that a robotics facility is going to be the follow-up. That makes the most sense for him. I'm not entirely sure if I 100% agree with this setup. Because if we take a look here... Oh wait, is this mech? No, it's not, right? Another Raven's gonna be what I'm expecting here. Because if we take a look, what I was gonna say, if we take a look here at the timing on the robotics facility, you see that this robo is gonna finish at 5:30, while a usually robo bay timing is going to be, well, at the latest at 4 minutes and 40 seconds in. So this robo bay is gonna be delayed by, well, more than 40 seconds already, which is not a great start here for Creator when it comes to his tech timings. Eco-wise, he's doing fine. Has a lot of map control with these Phoenixes. The second Raven is now in production. And we do see barracks coming down. 2 extra barracks. The Immortal gets chronoed out. Still doesn't start a row away. Look at that. This is so late. This is so late. Now, it is a fact that Gumiho has also invested quite a bit here in Cyclones. And he kind of has to keep his Raven safe. So usually the way you play as a Terran player is you get like a Viking out and then one Cyclone. And then maybe a second Viking. And then you're pretty much safe. That means that the tech lab that's on your factory, or the tech lab that your factory builds, can then get easily occupied here by a barracks. You can start fast stim, fast combat. And also your starport can piss off pretty quickly if you just build a single Viking. So you get much quicker stim in combat. Here the stim in combat is extremely delayed. So we see stim just now has started. That means we have, well, what, 80 seconds left at this point until that finishes up. By the time stim is done and you make your way across the map, it is completely possible that Creator is going to have, well, 2 Colossus out. He also has, well, already has 2 Immortals out right now. So 2 Immortals, 2 Colossus, that is a pretty decent army. Command Center is going to get spotted, and more importantly, these Ravens also end up getting spotted. The Phoenixes have been fairly inactive, but after seeing those Ravens, might even want to increase the Phoenix count to see if you can dive on top of these Ravens. Interference Matrix is very powerful, but Phoenixes absolutely destroy the flying detectors of Terran if they ever get in range, due to the way the attack of the Phoenix interacts with the armor of the Ravens, and light damage, dealing extra damage to the Raven. Or light armor, I guess it is. I'm not even sure what the exact lore says, but either way, extra damage being dealt by Phoenixes against Ravens, as we see supplies being fairly even. A slow but solid game so far. The question now being, what is Gumiho gonna do with his first push? Because he is really late already. I almost feel like that if you hit this late, there's almost no point. But at the same time, look how much energy he has gathered on those 2 Ravens. That is 2 interference matrices each. That is a lot of freaking stuff. That really is a lot of freaking stuff. And look how he's maneuvering these Ravens as well. He's right in front of the army. If he loses these Ravens, I think the game ends. If he loses these Ravens before casting spells, I really do believe that this game ends. So these Ravens are the most important thing he has. This is his baby. These are his babies right now. He needs to keep them alive. And so far he's doing a pretty good job. Marine is being sent out forward. There are 2 Colossus out. There's also 3 sentries. These are going to be vital in the defense here for Creator. Without these sentries, life is going to be very, very hard, because you're going to get 4 interference matrices. That means you can just hit those Colossus and then stim in. However, of course, with sentries, you can force field. And at the same time, Templars also make their way onto the map. That's going to bring in some extra difficulty here for Gumiho trying to cast these spells. He's waiting so freaking long. Now he's even sending out a second force towards the top side. Isn't aware of a base there. He's actually going to take out these rocks. That is not quite being spotted by Creator, but this probe will eventually figure that out. See, that moves on forward. Bottom side being spotted by a Pylon plus Zealot. This is some extremely weird movement coming out of Gumiho. He's waiting so long that his double Raven opener almost doesn't make any sense anymore. Now he's planning on hitting just before his Ghost hit the field. This is a fake, and it is definitely faking out his opponent. Gumiho making his way in towards the natural of his opponent, where there's really nothing there. Recall is available. Auto turrets get thrown down. That's 2 auto turrets. That's 3. That's 4. That's gonna soon be 5 maybe. First Raven gets taken out. Anti-armor does get cast, as we see a couple of feedbacks going down. This Raven still has some energy remaining. Fort base is gonna get cancelled. Phenomenal movement out of Gumiho. I did not understand what he was setting up there, but Gumiho understood what he was doing, and that's gonna be enough, as he gets a kill on the fort, gets a decent trade in the natural. I'm sad for him that he didn't get the robotics facility, because that would have been a pretty big deal. That's not gonna be the case. This Creator continuing to just sit back, relax, and just kind of absorb the blows here that Gumiho is delivering. That seems to be the plan on the Protoss players' side. 3 more barracks as well. Is that a second starport? Yeah, 3 more barracks plus second starport. 2 to upgrade ship weapons. Everything's going down right now. Raven's gonna get sniped. Yes, sir. So we see Creator still keen on trying to get a medevac there. Will not succeed. Now takes the more standard fourth base location, which I do appreciate quite a bit. We have Blink on the way. We have cannons coming up. Where's that cannon actually going now? Is it in the natural? Oh, it's at the fourth base. There's no cannons defending the mineral line, so potential mine drops could deal some damage. Although mines so far have not really been built in massive numbers. Just a couple of mines just somewhat spread around the map as the fusion core starts. We have ship weapons. 2 Vikings now. On the way out. A couple of workers are going to end up falling. Gumiho, he's, in my mind, was a player that really liked playing for map control, but so far just been more trying to head out with precise timing attacks. And Creator, a player that in my mind always does nothing, just sits back, absorbs blows, and then eventually moves out with an army that he believes can just straight up win the game. Wonder how this is going to work out. As the Zealots start running by, I'm actually very curious what Creator's plan is going to be. He's someone that really just, he's kind of similar to Showtime, I think. Someone that likes to sit back quite a bit, just kind of relax, and then eventually go for a massive push out. And once these guys usually get on the map, majority of the time they end up winning, because they really understand when their timing is, how to use their army, how to maneuver it. Gonna see if that's gonna be the case here, as a couple more Zealots are gonna get warped in for, I guess, a bit of a run by, or just for spotters. I'm not sure what they're for. First Creator is giving up a lot of map control with all of these shenanigans. As this mine once again is gonna get a hit. That's the 3rd kill it gets. These Zealots also do get spotted. Another mine here will not quite get the connection. Odd location anyway for a mine. But that's a story for another time. As the SVs in the natural now need to be pulled away, and 2 Zealots force this entire army back. Creator still just sitting here and really doing nothing, not at all trying to fight for map control, even just a little bit, which does surprise me because Liberators are now on the way out, and if you don't have map control against Liberators, you could be in serious trouble. Double Prisms coming out. We have Prism speed already. I'm not even sure about that. No, we don't. First Disruptor shot is not quite gonna connect. At least believe that was the first one. At least the first one that I saw, or that I can recall. Fiducia's reactor starts, and that's just after Advanced Ballistics finishes up. Plus 2 ship weapons as well just now starting. Gumiho really wants that map control. If you get map control as a Terran player while you have Liberators, that usually is a game ender. Because Liberators in a siege up position, they don't lose fights. The problem with Lips is that they can only cover one area at the same time. And moving them defensively, rotating defensively, can be quite hard. 2 Colossus completely out of position here. Creator did not quite see this coming. I think trying to defend this base is probably a mistake. I don't entirely see how he's going to be capable of doing that. With the Lips in this position, I think he just needs to pull the workers away, re-expand towards the bottom side, and probably should have tried some type of base trading move as well. As Gumiho here is going to continue pushing in forward. 1 Disruptor hit's going to get a very big connection. Colossus in the back also being useful against these Marines. Specifically good against these Marines. Star not quite done yet. 2 DTs get warped in. Now Creator sends the base trade. It is a little bit late, but with some poor micro out of Gumiho, anything might be possible here for our Korean Protoss player, who gets 1 orbital command down. How many orbitals do we have left? We have 1 over here, 1 in the main, with a lot of scans available. That's an issue. This bad boy is not gonna get lifted. How many DTs are there still around? Here we see a DT being warped in, another DT in the main base. Don't have enough pylons currently, as these probes are just being rallied around. More bases still for Creator going up left, right, and center, as this mine is finally gonna get a connection. A Creator needs to hurry up. He's gonna recall back home. I hope that's to this base. Yeah, I'm gonna say, I hope it's not towards the main, because there's a couple of Liberators just sieged up on top of that main. DT, by the way, has continuously been hitting, just now gets scanned. Gumiho lost a lot of supply there. I don't quite understand this recall. I really believe that had you just continued warping in DTs, and if you just had continued killing bases on the other side, this would have been a pretty decent play. Blink is done on these DTs, can move away as a result. This Prism is gonna piss off as well, or, well, it's gonna go to heaven, to Protoss heaven. Lots of cash in the bank for this Protoss player. Now realizes, yeah, I should have stayed on the other side. That's a little bit too late in my mind. Disruptor count still at 4. It's gonna need to use that to clear these mines, but now there are defensive Liberators as well, and yeah, Now life is going to become very freaking difficult. As here comes a flank coming in of Creator, but 2 libs already in position. Lots of Marauders in the back as well. GG's going to get called as Gumiho wins game number 1 here on Alcyone. And it's one of those games where I think the mistakes kind of made the game. The lack of map control for Creator and then the weird recall in the end there I think also is a mistake. I'm not saying he's winning the game. All I'm saying is that there's just going to be 2 orbital commands left over. One of those orbital commands was at the 4th base, which is the location that Creator probably should have attacked. If you kill that, there's not that many scans, there's no EMPs anymore, or hardly any EMPs with the aggressive army. If you can trickle in DTs at home and maybe have like a hidden disruptor, you leave 1 disruptor behind or you send 1 disruptor back, start rebuilding pylons as well as gateways on the outside bases, you're A, outmining your opponent, and B, you're in a situation where the only detection is going to be turrets and potentially EMPs. It's not easy for Terran with very little cash to start rebuilding orbitals all of a sudden. I really think Creator had the ability to force Gumiho back onto just a single base or maybe 2 base. Actually, no, just a single base. Just stuck in the main base. But instead, Creator goes back home, gives Gumiho a little bit of time, and yeah, then things go wrong. Horribly wrong as well. Which is sad because it felt like... Creator just felt like he ended up in a kind of a good spot in the mid game, which also didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. After how the first 7, 8, 9 minutes went. Snipe on the 4th felt pretty big out of Gumiho, but Creator just sat back, relaxed, and really did nothing special, but also made no major mistakes. And that seemed to be good enough to get back into the game. Here we're going to see a Marine first. Come on, show me something enticing. This isn't really... Oh, triple CC maybe? Triple CC or 3 Rex is kind of what I'm feeling here. Usually people that pull out of gas are adding... Yeah. It's going to be at least a 2nd Rex. I'd be surprised if this is like 2 Rex into Factory, because that's not really a build. So I'm expecting 3 Rex. This is something interesting, actually. I'm curious to see how Creator's also going to deal with this. I actually am very interested. Twilight Council, right? Yeah. Lucky start here. Twilight Council, definitely the better option over the 2 viable ones. The other viable one being Stargate, which is of course what we saw last game. Against 3 Rex, I think Twilight is much, much better. Especially if you can get a scout in. If you can't get a scout in, it can get tricky. But most of the time you can get a scout, some type of scout in. If you guys want to see some cool tricks, some cool information, is that what you want to scout here as the Protoss. So usually you do 2 things with this adept. 1, you want to get a scout towards the ramp. That's exactly what we're going to see here. Scout towards the ramp. See the reactor. You saw the 3 Marines. You know it's not Marine into Factory. It can be Marine into Reactor into Factory. That's not an uncommon build. That's the first thing you scout. And the second thing you scout is you're going into the mineral line of the opponent and you're counting SCVs. And right now, 3 minutes and 18 seconds into the game, there should be 3 SCVs. However, there are 6 SCVs. That means there is no second gas in the main base, which usually indicates either a 3 Rex play or a triple CC play. And that means that if Creator has a brain, which I believe he has, he knows exactly what's going on. He's rushing into triple gate blink and he's delaying the robotics facility. Now, some Terran players have grown a brain themselves. This is rare among Terrans. And they keep 3 extra workers in the main, just oversaturating the minerals there a little bit. It still gives them more income, but it does, it isn't as optimal as having them downstairs. But at least the Protoss opponent cannot easily scout. This is pretty much a blind counter, by the way, to 3 Rex. What Creator is doing here, he's playing 3 base into 3 gate blink with a delayed robotics facility, which is obviously bad against a lot of things, but it's pretty freaking good against what he is playing against. As the Adept's going to get the confirmation here. We have an eBay going up behind this. What is the Stalker count currently? The Stalker count currently only is 3. This is hitting very early and it's going to hit without stim, without combat shield. Creator ideally would have dealt a bit more damage to these units already because these are going to get pretty far out on the map. Stim is going to finish in a couple of seconds now. Battery is about to finish up. Here comes a scan towards the high ground. Adept gets to escape as well. This is a good mix of units. One of the most important things against 3-Rex is that you continue worker production all the way throughout. Oh, let's get a blink back there. That could have ended much, much worse there for Creator. But this was a very solid hold. Now, how do you want to follow this up if you're Creator in this case? That is a good question where I don't actually think we have all the answers to that yet. I personally believe that Colossus are extremely powerful because whenever you play against the 3-Rex, there's initially always going to still be a lot of Marines in the army. The army is going to be very big, consists of mainly bio units, and it's going to have quite a few Marines, which means that Colossus are going to be phenomenal. Storm, I'm also a huge fan of overall due to the complete lack of mines that are going to be in the Terran army. Ooh! Creator not paying attention is going to have a big move command in there. Concussive Shell isn't done, and that's perhaps going to be his saving grace. He's still going to lose 2 Stalkers there. Almost loses a 3rd one, but not quite. Forces another stim. So the reason why there's no mines here is because the factory constructs the reactor for the starport. And that means that that factory will not be producing mines for a very long time because this reactor is going to switch away to the starport. Well, the factory switches away from the reactor, then has to build another reactor. So we just have extremely late mine production, usually not even before... You're not going to see a lot of mines on the field before +1 armor is like halfway done or something. So that's really late into the game. Like Medevac 3 and 4 will be out and then the first mines start, which is insanely late. That also means that Zealots can be quite useful, especially if you get a decent flank in, so that the kiting doesn't last forever. We don't have Concussive yet. This is not a decision. This is a mistake here that Gumiho is making. I don't think Gumiho is looking at this situation and going, hey, you know, it'd be great right now. 50-50 extra in the bank because I don't get Concussive. Like, no. He has 13 Marauders. Concussive Shell here would be one of the most useful upgrades that he could get. Probably the most efficient way he could spend those 50 minerals and 50 gas at this point. As Creator's gonna start moving out, Force Field's extremely good against an army like this as well, by the way. If you catch anything, you're just gonna kill it, you're gonna eat it alive. The army is huge and the medevac count's not gonna be that big. Don't forget, Marauders take a lot of HP away when they stim, more than the Marine, which means that if you have a lot of Marauders in the army, you stim once or twice without a real reason to, your medevacs are just gonna be empty. As here we go, no mines to help out. Here, Zealot plus Immortal dishing out a lot of damage, 122 supply to 115. Good start here so far. Look at that! Look at that first stim. They haven't healed up at all over here. These Marauders are still very low. If we get another stim, if Creator here can force another stim, that would be huge. See how careful Gumiho is with that stim. This is the economy of stims, my dear friends. Now Medevac 3 and 4 come out. That's going to help this army massively, but it's still a huge army. Ooh, this is a gnarly position. I don't want to fight in that if I'm a Protoss player. Oh, he's gonna try and commit to it at least. Good force field there on the top side. It's going to allow these Zealots to dish out a lot of damage. Guardian Shield being active the entire way through. Also helping. We see a couple of Medevacs being targeted down here. All of the Medevacs still alive or completely empty. Look how orange and yellow these units are. Some completely in the dark red as well. And it seems to me that Creator's push has stopped, but just temporarily. There's a couple of things that he can do right now. He can move back home and excuse me. Almost killed myself there by forgetting to breathe. He can go home, wait for the Colossus, send the Prism in for a little bit of harassment. Another thing he probably could have done was continue poking with the Stalkers, see if he can maybe force out another stim or two. These medevacs still extremely low. So Gumiho here moving on the map feels natural, but also has some considerable risk. You can't really transition into Vikings yet right now if you're Gumiho. Well, it's possible, but you have such low energy medevacs. It is really scary to do something like that. So I'm not a fan of this attack here whatsoever. I think this is almost a guaranteed blunder here. Like, I just can't see this ending well. I just can't see this ending well for Gumiho. What I would have loved to see is an armory and perhaps a mine drop heading in towards the bases, because there's no cannons yet, and even if there were, mine drops are always good. Vikings now are being produced. I think sending this back home, yeah, you need an armory though. I think you need an armory. And also you probably should send a medevac that isn't half death already. So if a Stalker just looks angrily in its direction, it doesn't fall out of the sky. This is just going to boost straight into 12 Stalkers. I'm pretty sure it is not going to do the work that it needs to. Oh, maybe it will. Curious to see how that's going to be. Look at this this ring of vision that the creator has created, really. As that medevac's going to get taken out. Mine over here is going to get taken out as well. Gumiho, 150 supply to 149. That's usually a very good sign for Protoss players, although the army supply is still in favor of our Terran. The Terran doesn't really have an armory, doesn't have 2-2 on the way quite yet. Second eBay is on the way. There's no fort either for the Terran player. It is going up, but it ain't done quite yet. And I think that creator actually has an opportunity here with those 10 gateways, with the incoming prism, to try and deal some serious damage. I think he has a big enough army, he has good enough tech, and his upgrades are going to be matching his opponents as well. This army still consists of a lot of Marines as well, which means that these Colossus are going to be good. The ghost count isn't high enough to deal with Archons extremely well, although I think 3 more ghosts just got added. Did I lie? No. Oh, I thought I just saw a ghost finish. Guess I made that up. Yeah, with 3 ghosts, it's just not going to be good enough, simply. Because you're going to need more than, you know, you're going to need a couple of EMPs on these Archons. You want to probably EMP the rest of the army as well. So if you split the Archons here, at least one of the Archons is going to remain. And Archons are freaking powerful. Big EMP, so force fields cannot be used on that sentry. Colossus now moving in forward. They start lasering away at units. Depot's taking a beating. Here comes a beautiful surround out of Gumiho, by the way. But the Viking count not quite high enough yet. Colossus should target down some of these Marines. Here we go. Turns around, starts right-clicking. Well, mainly Marauders for now. I think this A move is just going to be too strong, though. Yeah, Viking count not enough. Good control, really, here out of Creator. Just pulling back every single time he needed to. He's going to win game number 2. And that means we'll be heading into the rubber match. And that match is going to be played here on Oceanborn. What do we have on our hands? Just a standard 2-gas opener. This is really not that weird, I think. It's quite common, I would say, even. Seeing 2-gas openers, especially out of players like Gumiho, Bian, Maru. Actually, just a lot of Korean Terrans freaking love playing this. The only one that tends to be a bit more keen on perhaps Reaper expands might be Cure. We've seen that do a lot. Clan plays that a lot as well. It's so funny to me that it still pretty much remains true that even 13 years after the game, that Koreans generally are a bit more aggressive and Europeans a bit more macro-focused. I really wonder why that is. It's so funny that that type of stereotyping in StarCraft 2 actually kind of works. Like, generally, it is true. It's gonna get a free hit there on that Reaper. I actually kind of want to see how Creator defends here. He pulled 1 worker out of gas. I wonder if that's on purpose. I actually really wonder if that's on purpose. It's gonna have a little bit more minerals, but it's gonna cut in his gas count, obviously. Starts to blink. Battery in the natural. No second gas yet. Okay, now he sent another worker back in here. You get a second and a third gateway. And I guess a robo as a follow-up? Is that the plan here as well? Yeah, so he's getting a little bit of everything. Gumiho has, I guess, 2 Cyclones, a medevac. And he also has sparked my curiosity. It almost feels like it's going to be a Raven follow-up here. You swap the starboard in the factory, because this is timing out almost too well. It could also be a tank. It's going to be Lib into tank. Wow. Okay. This is a nasty little build here that we're seeing. This would have been extremely powerful had there not been a battery in the natural. Natural batteries are capable of holding a lot. Where are the other units? We need some warpins either in... Well, we just need them in the main, really. But for now, Creator is just focused on defending the natural. And I don't quite understand why Gumiho wants to attack the natural right now. That seems like a blunder. I feel like the Marine drop should have went into the main base. Or at least something should have gone into the main base. a straight up threat to the natural doesn't quite seem to be it. I mean, this is hitting so late. He's gonna have his first aggression towards the main 4 minutes and 50 seconds in. We have a Robo-Bay on the way already. Prism is coming out as well. There's still going to be a 1-1-1 pressure behind this, I guess, because we have double tank production. Barracks are insanely late. It feels like Gumiho just shot himself in the foot. And then Creator was like, hey buddy, are you okay? And then Gumiho shot himself in the other foot. Creator just quickly started stepping away. He's like, alright. I thought we were in a duel, but if this is how you want to use your gun, then I'm okay with it. Now he's gonna move out? Like, these barracks are insanely delayed. He's transitioning into a Raven. This push is almost comically bad. Creator just has the 4 Stalkers on the other side of the map. He's already building a Colossus. Even if you cancel a 3rd base here, this is just not gonna be enough. Raven gets sniped as well. This Liberator being semi-repaired. I think here Creator just gives up this base. Gets the recall with these Stalkers. Takes out that Liberator. That is a good move. And in the moment he has a Colossus, I mean... how many Marines? There's like 15 Marines here. There's 2 Colossus. We have some fake Stalkers. We have a single tank snipe. Second tank is also going to go down. Prism actually being quite useful here. Propu I don't think was entirely necessary. In a way, this is keeping Gumiho's dreams alive. But holy crap, this was a one-sided affair. This was one of the... He hasn't even started stim in combat yet. I think Gumiho just messed up his build order. Because this looked so bad. It made no sense, the timing that he was hitting here. Specifically even the fact that he knew that it was playing against the 3-gate blink. He saw the warp in the natural. This is probably the worst thing he could have picked. If this had been a charge follow-up, it also would have been terrible. Had it been a 3-gate blink follow-up, it would have been terrible. Had it been an Archon, like 2-base Storm type of follow-up, this would have been terrible. This lost to everything. Like, he figured out the ultimate build to always lose. And then he played it in the final game of the GSL qualifier. I have no clue what this was. Yeah, I mean, Creator's gonna be happy with this as he qualifies for the GSL, but this was not good. This really was not a good build order out of Gumiho. I think he probably thought that his initial push was gonna deal more damage, or that he could easily retreat and maybe force something in the main. Felt like he really should have just sent the medevac straight to the main and then the Cyclones on the low ground pretending to put on pressure. Then you go back and then you go for a tank all-in. I would have kind of liked that. But the tank all-in, it hit so late, it almost felt like he forgot that he was going for a tank all-in. And then he also forgot to build the barracks. And then he also forgot to start stim, even when the barracks did finish. So yeah, just terrible build. Legitimately a very bad build order. And Creator, well, just gets the W here. That's going to be it for me today. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you want more GSL qualifier matches, be sure to let me know in the comments. If you don't give a crap and want me to wait until the actual GSL starts, tell me that as well. I'll be casting a lot of these games here on this channel, so be sure to subscribe, hit the like button, and I'll see all of you next time. Bye-bye.